wins every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Good morning and happy final Lions regular season game day. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster here to kick off your Lions game day morning. How are we feeling, gentlemen?
Week 18. I'm excited.
It's here.
I'm bummed. I'm sad. I'm excited.
Yes.
We know there's
Mixed
another game
emotions.
after this, so it makes it even better. Terry,
Yes.
how you feeling?
Feeling fine. I just want to make sure this wasn't the last show. There is going to be playoffs, so we're not done.
We're not done. It's not over yet. Thank goodness, because if this was last season, we'd potentially be approaching a season that was over. And this show would have looked very different last season because
Yes.
they're playing for a lot, and a lot was up in the air, and we didn't know a lot. So here we are. How nice it is to be comfortable and knowing that we're going into the postseason as people covering the Lions.
Right. And outside shot, the number two
seed.
Right.
That's still on the table. There's still a chance.
We'll see.
There's still a chance.
You know, it's still out there. It's still within grasp. Just need a couple of things to happen. They're going to have the 1 o'clock game, and then we'll see how the rest of the day pans out. But you never know what's going to happen considering the Steelers beat the Ravens last night. So we might be in like a little bit of an upset central here going into the final regular weekend.
This week, there's no upsets. It's teams who give a damn and teams who don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So now you got to figure all that out.
Who does and who doesn't? Well, the Lions certainly give a damn,
Yes.
and Dan Campbell has made sure to let everyone know that they do because their starters will be on the field today, still fighting for that number 2 spot, even if it's not fully within just their control. But they're also looking to make it happen against the Vikings again, which would potentially be their only sweep of the NFC North this season because 1-1 against the Packers, 1-1 against the Bears. What will happen today against the Vikings? Can they pull out a second win against a team that they already have beaten this season? Also, they are looking to ensure that they won't lose consecutive games this season, something that they haven't done since 1972. So 2 reasons for a win today, if not many more.
I think there's a W on the menu today. I think the Lions can take control of this game early and really show off this NFC North champion banner down at Ford Field. Get the team ready. Get the fans ready for next week, the playoff run. But no one's really looking past this game, and I think the fans also, just like the team, are going to be ready to go after what happened in Dallas last week, that tough loss, the controversy at the end. There's a lot of pent-up anger, aggression, irritableness down in Allen Park this week. I think it all starts to come out, and I think we take it out on the Vikings.
You know, the thing that's cute to me is all the angst we went with the Lions this year.
Yeah.
They could be the only contender not to lose consecutive games. Everybody's lost 2, 3, 4 games, whatever, and the Lions just keep plugging along. But I think what the thing that took us, that got us derailed, is the first Chicago Bears game that they won. People view that as a loss. But they didn't lose it. They won the game.
Yes, they did.
Sounds like a resilient team to me. Sounds like a team ready to win 5 straight.
You know what? It is a resilient team. I think the only reason we don't hear that kind of talk around here is because of the Lions' history. When you hear somebody reluctantly talking about the Lions, well, they're good, but blah, blah, blah. They're thinking in the back of their mind, the Lions' history. That history is done. So this is a new organization, new mindset, new attitude. So we need to embrace that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry about that. I think the city has gotten behind that as well because we were talking about earlier all the billboards that we've been seeing and the new beers that are coming out and all the excitement coming out around the Lions, even when it seems like the world is against them, the city is with them. And I think this might be one of the first times that this has happened where the city doesn't turn with the rest of the people.
What you know what we need to do next show? Let's get one of those Lion beers. Maybe it's going to enhance the show.
For 7 a.m., that would be a way to start the day.
Yeah, maybe that is too early.
Maybe next Sunday, maybe pre-playoff game.
Yeah.
Can we have a 5
could do
p.m.
that.
show to get that beer down? No, I saw an Eastern Market Brewery has a Lions beer. When on the way here, I was driving, and someone had a Detroit Lions 1800 something, but I don't know if it was a beer, a wine, a bourbon, or whatever. But with the Lions, you gotta get your drink on now.
You do. You do.
course.
Terry Foster, John Macaroon, Doc Macaroon from All Lions, the Sports Illustrated publication, wanted me to ask you: are you making anyone an offer they can't refuse today? You're looking pretty sharp.
You know what? Well, since you mentioned, I want to bring up this tie was given to me by my daughter Celine when she was 6 years old.
Come on.
It's the very first gift that she got me where she had no help. I told her I wanted a tie, and so she went out. I mean, she didn't drive to the mall, but
She got your
went there
keys.
and she picked it out on her own. Mom didn't help, and these are palm trees on here.
Love
so.
it.
Look at that.
Tropical state of mind as the snow comes down, right?
Yes, I probably should have worn something a little more wintry today, but I wanted to pay
That's okay.
tribute to the daughter.
Love that. Absolutely love that. We have to get into, before we get into the game, some other news that came out this week. Pro Bowl selections came out this week, and while we want to be very excited for those that were selected, we're going to breeze right past them because there were several snubs that we have to get to. And first on that list is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not getting selected for the Pro Bowl. He's an alternate.
Here's the thing that bugs me about you can make a case that Amon-Ra St. Brown is the MVP of this team.
Yeah.
We probably all wouldn't say he is, but you could make a case.
For sure.
'Cause whenever Jared Goff is in trouble, it's St. Brown. And St. Brown, not only what he does on the field, but he's elevated other receivers with him.
Yes.
Because of his work ethic and some of the things that he says. So, Amon-Ra, and I'm going to say this, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the Tayshaun Prince of this Lions team.
Interesting. What?
Why do I say that?
Yeah,
You
what's that
asked? I know
connection?
your little mind was blown. Because in 2005, 4 of the 5 starters for the Pistons made the NBA All-Star team. One guy didn't. That was Tayshaun Prince. And at that time, you could make a case that Tayshaun Prince was one of the more valuable guys on that team. No, he didn't score 20 points or 18 points a game, but he played defense. Another thing I liked about Tayshaun Prince at the time is when during the playoff run in 2004, particularly early in there, guys were afraid to shoot the ball. Tayshaun was not. He just chucked it up, and when they gave him the opportunity, he would produce. And so Amon-Ra St. Brown is the same way. You ask him to do something, he produces. Jared Goff is in trouble. Whoop. Everybody's covered. Not me. I'm here. So I don't like this, but it doesn't surprise me because Amon-Ra St. Brown is not spectacular. He doesn't do goofy things. He doesn't do backflips. He doesn't leap into the end zone. He's a blue-collar guy. He's a Detroit Lion and a Detroiter in the way that he plays.
100%.
We can all agree he was snubbed, though. Like,
Oh, for sure.
possibly
doubt.
from 2 receivers ahead of him. He is the first alternate, so that is good, I guess. But you got rookie Puka Nacua there, the wide receiver from the Los Angeles Rams. Had a good year. Nothing wrong with that. St. Brown had a better year. Also, Mike Evans. He scored a lot of touchdowns down in Tampa Bay, but he had nowhere near about every single other statistical category for a wide receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown led him. Also, Amon-Ra has done it in one less game. He's got 112 catches, 1,371 receiving yards, 9 reception touchdowns. Amon-Ra's having a Pro Bowl year, and he should have been named.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Here's another stat you don't have. How many first downs did you produce on third down? I bet you he would lead the league in that because when it's third down, Jared Goff is going to Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though he's been going to Sam Laporta a little bit more lately. But when it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, those are the money downs. Those are the if you don't convert those, not going to say you're going to lose, but you have a better chance of losing. But if you convert those 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s, you're going to win some games. And Amon, or Saint, as they call him in the commercial, it's 3rd and 7, you go to him, he's catching the ball. He's had one game in his history where I saw him drop a ball.
Was that not the Saints game? Or a couple of games? Chicago Bears in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the first time, literally in 3 years, that was the oddest it's ever looked out there for him. And if we're on the Pro Bowl snub list, if we're going to also snub Jared Goff, if we're going to snub them both, we might as well point out that Amon-Ra St. Brown had this year without a Pro Bowl quarterback. Mr. Puka Nacua, rookie, had a Pro Bowl quarterback in Matthew Stafford as his quarterback. So, all right, if you're going to not name Jared Goff a Pro Bowl or two, you got to at least give some recognition to the wide receiver for performing without a Pro Bowl quarterback, or vice versa.
Exactly.
You know, that's how I stand. That's how I look at it.
Well, the list continues down because you also have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who have arguably been the best duo, people are calling them, in the NFL this year. Both of them alternates. Who are you more disappointed in, them as a duo not getting in, or at least one of them, or Amon-Ra St. Brown? Or do you think they're equal?
St. Brown,
Okay.
no question.
Okay.
Because even though the running game is the backbone of this team, at least offensively, the offensive line is a major reason why these guys succeed. And you got Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow on the Pro Bowl. So I think what the NFL is saying is, yes, these running backs are good, but they're giving recognition to the Lions' offensive line, which they need to be given some love.
So maybe this is just the third or fourth in a week series of middle fingers that the NFL has given the Lions.
Yes.
I mean, between what happened in Dallas, their funny but really not funny little mic'd up series that they put out afterwards, leaving out the audio with the refs, and now this. I mean, that's three right there. 1, 2, 3. And I would throw in a fourth one in there just because of how they handled the whole situation in Dallas.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? Your Uncle Terry was wrong. I thought all this picking on the Lions stuff was over.
Yeah.
Because the NFL loves the Lions. The networks love the Lions. So this is a team you want to highlight. This is a team that you want to recognize. But, you know, they still don't compare to the Dallas Cowboys, who...
America's team.
Yeah.
Right?
Except I'm calling the Lions America's team for
Yes, you
1
are.
year.
Yeah. I think David Montgomery has a case too. I know Jahmyr Gibbs he's the sexy running back. He's the one you remember with his explosive runs. But David Montgomery's had a hell of a year. And if we're going to compare it to DeAndre Swift, I'm okay with both the running backs not making it because Kyren Williams for the Los Angeles Rams, he's had a good year. But one of the two Lions backs need to. I mean, DeAndre Swift, he not only had all 5 offensive linemen are going to the Pro Bowl, a Pro Bowl fullback, first alternate quarterback, and a Pro Bowl wide receiver. So he has all the things right in front of him to have an electric year. And in just 3 more games, he's only 134 yards ahead of Gibbs, 74 yards ahead of Montgomery, who've done it in 13 and 14 games.
With splitting their load evenly.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly. Montgomery has the most rushing touchdowns with 12. Gibbs has 9. Swift has 5. Swift only has 1 receiving touchdown. The Gibbs does 2. So I don't know. Statistically, they should be ahead. You look at the bigger picture. One of them should also be in there.
Is
so
it that they
it's a
couldn't
snub.
choose between the two because they are the two-headed monster and they've been branded that way this season? So maybe it's just kind of biting them in the ass now?
Maybe, but I'd argue if by the end of the day today they both have 1,000 yards rushing on the season, that's a pretty special year. That's a backfield that
you know what
one
happened?
of those deserves to be in there.
Seriously, you know what happened? NFL doesn't listen to this show.
Exactly.
Because if they listen to the
Rude.
show, they would know that David Montgomery is a motherfucker.
Yes.
This dude moves the pile. He runs angry. You can't stop him for a 1 to 2 yard gain. If you do, he's going to get 4 or 5. And I think what you do is you have people just looking at stats, but they don't actually see these guys play.
And he's such a huge part of why this Lions team is 11-5. Like, whatever way you look for that, they deserve it.
Well, we are going to look ahead into the next segment where we are going to talk more about looking ahead, just that. Stay with us, and we are Woodward and Main Street.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thanks so much, Les Stanford, for making this show happen every single week, 2 times a week. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. Your Lions game day coverage starts right here. Last game
Week 18
of the regular season. I don't know how we got here. We said it at the beginning of last segment. Time has completely flown by. And we have a lot to talk about because this is not where the season ends for the Lions, which is fantastic for them, but also for us because, you know, selfishly, I love doing this show, and so I'm glad it's not ending right now.
Since the show started, the Lions are 11-5 and won the NFC North for the first time ever. So, I mean, let's go.
It's us. It's all us.
Yeah.
And they're going to be raising that NFC North banner today. So hopefully that will, you know, fire them up even more than the game that they're coming off of last in Dallas. Exciting day to have down at Ford Field.
Even after Dallas, we just talked about the Pro Bowl snub, so you know those chips on those shoulders are growing. Like,
oh yeah, boulders.
The marketing team get a sponsorship from Doritos or Lay's. Like, these chips are huge.
You know what the NFL did? They made a mistake.
That idea. What?
They created an
Which one?
angry monster, the National
Yes,
Football
they
League.
did. Yes,
I think
they
with
did.
The whole referees thing last week, and then, you know, the Lions are still getting snubbed in some things. I think the Lions are going to embrace this, play angry, be pissed off, and could pull off a playoff victory on the road. They could do that.
I think so too. I definitely think so, especially thinking who the road foes might be in the second week of the playoffs, if that's how it lays out. I know we may be leading into that conversation, but the Lions, they're going to be a scary team to play. And it's fortunately Decker reported as eligible on the injury report today, so he will be playing. Battled a groin injury or something, but he is eligible. Will be out there today starting. Decker reported.
That's a perfect way to say it. Decker
And there's
reported.
a T-shirt that says Decker reported.
Yes, there is, and several billboards all
Yeah.
going down I-75, which he has made note that it's kind of fun to drive down to work and see those.
It's got to be.
I mean,
Now, kids, I got into a huge argument with a young man yesterday who told me that Decker did not report. I said, how do you know that? He said, well, he believes the referee.
That's
said,
the
okay,
kid's first mistake.
Okay, yeah, that's his first. But my thing is, why did Taylor Decker go up to the ref and have a conversation? Was this about, hey, nice day today, buddy. I hope you're calling a great game. Or did he say, hey, I'm reporting? I mean, you have to use common sense. Players just don't go up and talk to referees in situations like that.
yeah.
And then you'd have to assume that the Lions are idiots. Why would they have Skipper report and Decker not report, and then have Skipper in an ineligible position and Decker in an eligible position?
They should have thrown a flag right there. As soon as the ball snapped, they should throw a flag for illegal formation if 70 reported and they were looking at the line at the formation. There were a number of things that went wrong, a number of mistakes on that play. The worst part is that they just admitted, they won't admit that they made a mistake. Not only that, but they're saying what the Lions are telling them is not true. They're calling the Lions liars without saying that.
Yep.
That's what I think a lot of people have a problem with.
Just
but,
add that to the middle fingers.
Yes,
On the list.
as pissed off as we are, Dan Campbell really has moved that team on. He moved them on when we had our show Tuesday.
Yeah.
That team had already moved on. They're pissed, don't get me wrong. They remember it, but they're focused on this game, and they're focused on using that fuel. What do you say, octane fury, that jet fuel?
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's got these guys
octane.
straight. Yes.
Love
This is
that.
part of the value.
They have not completely moved on, because to carry that anger, you have to remember why you're angry. So I think, yeah, they moved on technically there, but they still got it in the back of their mind. We got screwed. So why did we get screwed? Because of this call. So this call, I believe, is going to linger with them in a positive way.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's one of those things like they all know they got screwed, and that's the way it is. So instead of sort of taking the woe is me attitude, it's one of those things in practice. The motivating factor is they think, all right, we literally have to play a perfect game. We can't give the refs any reason to make a bad call. So that's whether it's a guy like Derek Barnes or Jack Campbell, Kendall Vildor, that they don't want to miss that tackle that they did in the game, or they don't want to miss that assignment. It just focuses them that much more to try to avoid leaving it in the hands of the referee. So there are different ways to use that fuel. But you're right. It is something they remember, and they're going to use it, but they aren't going to sulk in it. Maybe that's how I should have phrased it.
All right, this next segment I'm going to put into our hands, because I want to know, looking at the NFC right now, which includes the Ravens losing last night because they played earlier than everyone else, where do you think who are the top 5 teams in order? 1 being the best, 5 being the worst.
Just the NFC or overall?
Just the NFC.
Okay. To me, the top 5 teams, and this is very volatile, but I'm going to go the San Francisco 49ers, number 1. Your Detroit Lions, number 2. Philly 3, Dallas 4.
And so is it this your ranking of best teams, or your ranking of the teams you think have the best chance to reach the Super Bowl?
Second one.
Okay.
I think these are the
Best
teams
chance
with
to
the
reach
best
the Super Bowl.
chances of reaching the Super Bowl, because
Oh man.
if you
Okay.
you can't really distinguish these teams from each other.
Very close.
I thought Philadelphia was the clear-cut number 2, and then I
Yeah.
watched them play, and I'm like, maybe they're not that. And for all the flaws that the Lions have that we've complained about in this city, it's not what's happening in Philly. It's not what's happening in San Francisco. It's not what's happening with Dallas on the road. So everybody has these big blemishes. So I think this is going to be who can cover up those blemishes the best. And when these teams play each other, I mean, these games are going to come down to, boom, just a few plays.
Yep.
The NFL game comes down to 6 plays anyway. Who can play the best on those 6 plays? I think what we're going to see in the playoffs, those 6 plays are going to come right at the end of the game. And who can be the best team in those 6 plays from the 7.5 minute mark to the end of the game? It's going to be a hell of a playoff this year.
That's for sure.
Definitely.
All right. You're next.
I have a very similar list.
Okay.
And I was thinking, when I was thinking about this, I was considering coming with 2 scenarios. You know, if Dallas is the 2 seed, you go play Dallas, and if Philadelphia is the 2 seed, you have to go travel to Philly. But the more I started breaking down a Philadelphia matchup, their weaknesses right now, how they're playing bad, the Lions match up really well with that. They're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Their secondary is not playing well. So I think even if Philadelphia gets that 2 seed, I've got the Lions as the second team in this ranking of teams that I think have the best chance to get to the Super Bowl. So it's the 49ers, the Lions, the Cowboys, and then the Eagles. The Eagles do have a roster that they're not only veterans and played in this Super Bowl. We're in the Super Bowl last year, but they got names. They got players that just haven't really put it all together. I don't really trust their coaching staff. Matt Patricia running that defense. Something just feels off. So I just don't believe in them like I did earlier in the season. And then we know Detroit can beat Dallas in Dallas. So regardless, they're not losing to the Cowboys twice.
So
But they didn't lose the first time.
well,
Right. Agreed.
let them know, Terry. Remind everyone.
Right.
They didn't.
The
refs won.
Here, I'm going to look ahead. If the Detroit Lions play, and they don't play in Dallas, they play in Fort Worth. If they play in the Dallas area, the Lions will win that game.
Oh, yeah. I think they have to win that game, not only because of the Lions, but I think also it would be terrible for just the NFL as a whole for the Lions to go in there and have a game go the way that it did this last time. With how much fire is on them for this last game, I don't physically think that they would have to select their refs very well for that game.
Yeah, they will. But here's in college football we have bowls. We have the Rose Bowl,
Bunch of
the Sugar
worthless
Bowl,
games. Yes.
Gator Bowl,
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Cheez-It Bowl.
If the Lions go to Dallas or Fort Worth or wherever they play, this is going to be a bowl game. Shove it up your ass bowl. That's what they're going to do with the NFL.
Okay.
So, you screwed us? Okay, fine. That's good. We've moved on. But now we're going to go back and beat America's team and officially become America's team, at least for 1 year.
Yes.
Shove it up your ass bowl.
State of Michigan taking over Texas.
I know. What if that trophy would look like?
It would be a Brad Allen right on the top, maybe bending over. I'll stop. It would involve Brad Allen. Just moving on.
Let me give you my rankings because I think that would be more pleasant to talk about, hopefully, than where this conversation was going. I'm going to have a similar start to both of you guys. I'm going 49ers 1, Lions 2, and then I'm going to go... I can't after last night. My rankings list is very different last night going into last night's game, but I'm going to say Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens.
Okay, well, the Ravens are in the AFC.
Are in the AFC.
Oh,
but
and if you gonna say Ravens, they got to be number one.
I don't think so. Not after last night. I think that they had a lot of weaknesses last night.
Yeah, but they didn't play people. They didn't care about that game.
Okay, well, I gave you my 4 right there because the Ravens aren't in it.
There we go. Lamar, it's funny when you sit out and it validates your MVP worthiness, your value to your team. It's always funny. They didn't have their
ask
MVP.
You a question. How many yards did Lamar Jackson pass for last night?
0.
Zitters.
0.
You know why? Because he had his little hoodie on and was, trying to huddle out of the rain and everything.
We'll give the weather the excuse.
No. Let's give the excuse Lamar Jackson didn't play.
Yeah.
That's all I need to hear.
But what would be interesting is what would happen in a game where Jared Goff didn't play in this last game? What would happen? Do you think that the Lions would still be able to pull it out?
Against Minnesota?
Against Minnesota without Jared Goff, with Teddy Bridgewater in.
Yeah, I think they could.
Okay.
And they would.
Interesting what that says about the other parts of your team. I think we've talked a lot this season about the Lions being a whole team, a complete team.
But also Lamar Jackson is an MVP. Jared Goff is not. So, and the Lions are predicated offensive line and those running backs. And then when you get in the jam, now you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and you have Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, Pro Bowler.
Talking about the best tight end in the NFL?
I'd put him top 3, definitely top 3, maybe top 2. And I wouldn't argue with you if you said top 1.
Well, you could still say George Kittle, but I think so he could be the best guy. But Sam Laporta's right up there.
Yeah. It's funny. I wonder if T.J. Hawkinson, the Vikings tight end, former Lions tight end, if he was healthy, I believe he got more fan votes. I believe he would be voted in as the Pro Bowler. We'll never know. But that makes even more of a case for this Lions team being so good without Pro Bowlers, which I know is partly popularity contest, but fans voted these Lions in more than some of the guys who are actually voted into the Pro Bowl.
I do feel bad because I feel like we've completely brushed over the fact that Sam Laporta is going to be playing in the Pro Bowl and was one of those 5 selected for the Lions.
Impressive. Because
that is really impressive. Your first-year tight end. You saw the narrative for him coming in. He wasn't a first-round draft pick. And there he is going to the Pro Bowl in his first year. But that's completely getting blown over, I think, because of the Amon-Ra St. Brown conversation. But I think it's important to take a moment and say, congrats, Sam Laporta.
Yeah, congrats. That's an impressive year. Especially without a Pro Bowl quarterback or MVP candidate getting him the ball.
Right.
Okay, so my next question is, who would you prefer the Lions to play in their first game?
Honestly, anybody. I know that's a a lame answer for the show, but
It is.
I don't want to.
I agree.
I don't want to
Almost
say
as lame as my answer, including the Ravens. So
Yeah, I don't want to say
be in
I'm
second place.
worried about every. You have to take every team seriously, but they match up well with all the teams fighting for the spot. I think the Lions are a far superior team. Not saying they're going to blow them out, but if I had to pick, I say bring on the Rams.
Okay.
They have some things that scare me, some things that could beat this team, but I think overall. Where the Lions' strengths are match up to where the Rams' weaknesses are, and I think they could get to Matthew Stafford and make it a tough day on him. And he's a gunslinger too. This Nick Mullins matchup today, Nick Mullins part 2, Stafford's far better than Nick Mullins, but it's a similar type of quarterback. He can throw some balls up, and he'll be resting today, and I guess he'll have a game to get to that second game. Or no, you could play him in the first week. So they'll be a little bit rusty maybe. I don't know. I'll bring on the Rams. It's time to put all those narratives to bed.
Same team, but for much different reasons.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I love chaos. I want the Lions to play the Los Angeles Rams. I want Matthew Stafford back in Ford Field. I want Matthew Stafford passing for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. I want Matthew Stafford throwing key interceptions at the end of the game. I want someone to spill beer on Kelly Stafford. I want her to bitch about it on a podcast afterwards. So, yeah, I love chaos. And I think the Rams would create chaos. We'd be talking about Stafford coming back home. The Detroit Ram T-shirts would be coming back out again.
Oh, man.
People would be pissed off about that. Give me the chaos. Lions, Rams.
Let's go.
All right. Now, on the flip side, who would you not want them to play? Anyone that you'd be like, I'm a little nervous.
I want this thing to continue. I think the team that would scare me most is Seattle. And I know the Lions lost early, and usually it's tough to beat a team twice in one season. But Seattle seems to have the Lions' number. No matter what, if it's overtime, if it's in the rain, the snow, the dome, or whatever, they seem to have the Lions' number. And every time the Lions play this team, you assume the Lions are going to win, but it just doesn't happen. That's the team I'd be most concerned about.
Yeah.
I'd probably be most concerned about the Packers. And I
Okay.
know we destroyed them earlier in the season, but they came in on Thanksgiving and you could say embarrassed the Lions. The Lions are a far better team, but the Packers, if their defense, which has been very inconsistent all year, if they have a good game, if they get the type of pressure that they got on Jared Goff in the first game, Sean Gary was an absolute animal. In the playoffs, Aaron Jones is going to be healthy. He's been healthy these last 2 games, and that was something that they didn't have to their advantage earlier in the season, even when they beat the Lions. So if Jordan Love is playing well, like he is currently, he's a mobile quarterback. There are things about that team that aren't a good matchup for the Lions.
Yeah.
The Lions are a better team, but if the Packers play their best game, it won't be an easy win for either team.
Yeah, I mean, Packers really come on. I mean, when you look at the division, I'm not interested in playing anybody in the division because I've told you it's that dynamic. When you look at the division, Minnesota, Green Bay, Chicago. The most scary team out of them right now is Green Bay. I think Green Bay would easily beat Chicago, and they beat Minnesota in Minnesota. That's the scary team right there.
Yeah.
And plus, they want to pay back. They remember the Lions sent Aaron Rodgers packing to New York. I'm sure they would love to pay the Lions back
Okay.
in a big moment.
Don't want that to happen.
Big moments coming up. We are going to get into the matchups for today's game. The Vikings come into town. We will get into it in the next segment. Stick with us. We are Woodward and Main Street.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss visit. Join Maz, Dick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street here on Woodward Sports Network, your Lions Insider Show. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, as always, Matt Broder and Terry Foster. And thank you to Les Stanford for making this show possible. Les Stanford, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, we're going to get into the matchups that are happening down at Ford Field today. So, kicking things off, let's talk about Mullins, because Mullins will be playing today. That is who they have selected as their option that they're most comfortable going with, I guess. And let's talk about him against the Detroit Lions safeties. That's what we're gonna say.
A plethora of safeties.
Yes.
This is a good game to work CD Deuce, to work CJ Gardner-Johnson back into the mix. Nick Mullins, as we saw in the last game, he's a gunslinger, like we said. Threw for almost 400 yards, but also threw four interceptions. He tosses it up. And this is a secondary, a safety group with Kirby Joseph, Ife Melifanu, who's come on like an animal, playing incredibly lately. CD Deuce coming back, and Brian Branch. This is one of those games where they can go get a couple takeaways, whether it's forced from pressure from those safeties or Kirby Joseph playing center field, waiting for Nick Mullins' eyes to give him a tell, throwing it up to Justin Jefferson. We'll see. But I think this is a good matchup. And I think the Lions safeties have the advantage in it. What do you think, Terry?
Nick Mullins will not finish this game. He's either going to get pulled or somebody's going to bust him up. Probably more likely he'll get pulled, because I think what the Lions secondary discovered in the last game is, he's going to get his yards, but you can set him up now and then to intercept the ball. You can present to him a open pocket, an open receiver, but you're lurking in the background, luring him into that openness, which is not really there, and then you're going to pick him off. So he'll get picked off 2 or 3 times this game, and the secondary will be better than it was last time. But here's the danger. If I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm going to my coaches and say, hey, did y'all see what CeeDee Lamb did to the Lions? I'm better.
Give me the ball.
Right.
Give me the ball.
Right.
Well, that's my next question, leading right into it, is will the Lions properly adjust to Justin Jefferson? Did they figure out his game the last time they played him, or do you think that he's going to play the Lions this game?
He's going to be a problem. He's going to play them. But what you want in a situation like this is for Mullins to make enough mistakes for you to win the game.
Okay.
And I think that's what's going to happen. But Jefferson is going to get his.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he said, CeeDee Lamb is good, but I'm better, so I'm gonna clown these guys.
Yeah, you just got to limit him to under 200 yards. Like he's going to get his 100. He might get 150, but he's that good. He's that good of a receiver. I regard him as the number 1 receiver in the NFL. So he's going to go try to have a big game heading into the offseason. End on a positive note. What they need to do, they need to shut down the rest of their team. And there's a better chance to do it. There's no TJ Hawkinson today. That's one less weapon. Their run game, they shut down last game, only giving up 17 yards. They still got to do a lot of the same. But no one's stopping Justin Jefferson. He's going to get his.
Can they limit Justin Jefferson to like 110, 112, 125 yards or something like that?
I think if they do that, they win by more than one possession. Okay. I think this is going to be a one-possession game. But if they limit him to 110, 112, 115, I see the Lions winning easily.
And who do you think is a secret ingredient in limiting him? Who do you think is capable of doing that the best?
I think it's got to be a safety. I mean, Cam Sutton will probably be the primary cornerback on him, maybe some Kendall Vildor. But just like we were talking about with Nick Mullins, what's going to contain him from having those a massive game is a Kirby or an Iffy playing center field, preventing him from beating that last line of defense, but also coming up and forcing a takeaway, getting less opportunities for that Vikings offense.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to regret saying this, but I'm going to say CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's rusty. He hasn't played, but I trust this guy.
Okay.
He's smart. He's aggressive. He's an ass. I love having 5 or 6 asses on defense. He's got that attitude that is going to make him better than he should be today. He should be rusty and all out of sync and everything, but I trust this guy to come in and play well. He's already talking big junk smack. I'm the vet. He was in the Super Bowl. He is not afraid of big games. He's not afraid of big-time receivers. Now, I would normally say Cam Sutton, but Cam Sutton looked like to me, man, and against CD Ram.
You're really manifesting that Lions-Rams game.
He made us look like a floppy disk.
Turnstile. He was going back and forth. He didn't know where he was on the field.
It was an odd game for Cam Sutton, who it seemed like something was just off. It wasn't his best game. He just didn't seem himself. But he was battling a toe injury that we weren't sure if he was going to play. He's been healthy all week, so I think Cam Sutton is back to his old self.
Cam Sutton is back to his old self.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see that on the field today. But
let's hope he doesn't look confused on the field, because he looked confused against Dallas.
Somebody who is not looking confused against Dallas was Aiden Hutchinson. So Aiden Hutchinson will be taking on everybody on the field today with that kind of attitude that he brought last week, or at least the backup tackles. So my biggest question with this matchup is more geared towards Aiden Hutchinson. Is he going to start a streak right now? And will this continue through the playoffs? Was his performance last week the spark to light him on fire?
I think it was, because I think Aiden Hutchinson's sacks before last week were all fake.
Okay.
Everybody else took care of their business, put the Lions in position to win, and then Aiden Hutchinson would get his little 2 sacks when everybody else did their thing and the game was decided. So to me, those sacks early in the season, fake.
Okay.
But when you're looking at the Lions from the outside in, you just see 2 sacks and say, okay, Aiden Hutchinson had 2 sacks. He must be the best player on the defense. No, he hasn't been. He was last week because he got him when the game was in doubt. He switched the game into the Lions' favor. So now he's got to keep doing it in the second quarter, the third quarter, early fourth quarter when the game has not been decided. That's what I want to see out of Aiden Hutchinson. And maybe now McNeil's going to be back, we assume, but you never know with the Lions. Stuff happens. But you have all the safeties back there. Aiden Hutchinson is going to have a better opportunity to attack the quarterback. So, yeah, I think he better do it, and he will do it.
You made a good point. Ali McNeil is back. Or coming back. We don't know how much we're going to see of him today, but he feels good. And at least by the first game of the playoffs, he'll be back to 100%.
Yeah.
100% of the snaps he would have played. And that's such a bonus to Hutchinson. And then we factor in, hopefully James Houston is coming back. But regardless, this Dallas game, I think, is one that can catapult him, catapult his confidence, and catapult not a shot at the Ohio State software, reading other people's plays. Actually push him forward in this, not sack race, but actually in the playoffs, making a difference with his sacks. He's up there in pressures. We all know that. But he's also a top 2 in quarterback hits. Yeah, I took a shot at Ohio State when I had the chance. Quarterback hits, quarterback pressures.
Sad.
What?
You're in the national championship, all right?
Yeah, enjoy it. Stop being an arrogant ass.
Like Ryan Day?
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go. I thought we were talking about the Lions.
Okay,
the Lions
we are.
play some
Okay,
football
we are.
today.
All right, I want to talk about Nassau
Okay.
right now. James Houston, I think, is stuck on the rocket ship sometimes somewhere between here and Mars. Because we keep hearing he's coming back, and then every time you get excited, it's, okay, James Houston's coming back. We're just kidding. So he is stuck on some space shuttle and outer space. You're never going to see James Houston again.
Now, I don't know how we got this far into the show without me bringing this up, but Mr. Bugs is no longer with the Lions, and he has been picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs. What's your thoughts on this situation, Terry?
Well, first of all, I should have wore black today.
Morning.
I don't like it. I don't know what happened with Isaiah Bugs and the Lions. This isn't a you can't play thing.
Yeah.
Something happened where he pissed somebody off, or they pissed him off, and it just this kumbaya thing with the Lions with bugs and just didn't work out. We need an investigative report. I'm gonna put you in charge of that, Matt.
Okay.
Find out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Who did he cuss out? How many meetings was he late for? Was he eating during meetings or doing something? I don't know, something. Wearing his baseball cap backwards in team meetings. I don't know what happened, but something besides play on the field happened with Isaiah Buggs and the Lions, and I don't like it. Not one bit.
You know what I don't like is a question that you asked earlier in the break. Since we've covered the Bugs territory, I also want to cover this in this segment. Is you asked how that ending of that Dallas game and those calls that Dan Campbell chose to make will affect his race for the Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think that loss, that missed call that resulted in a loss, I think that cost him the Coach of the Year award. And I might have to walk it back a little bit now that the Texans, snuck in the playoffs. DeMeco Ryans sort of sneaks up back into the top of the race for me for the Coach of the Year. But imagine if they won that game, and we expect them to win today, and we'll play the assuming game. If they won both these, it would be 13-4. Leading the Lions to their first NFC North championship. Like, this is all the things we said he needed to do to win the award this year.
Yeah.
He would have taken care of in a relatively dominant fashion. So
yeah.
I think now being 12-5, Stefanski's been great. The Colts coach Shane Steichen probably not going to win it now. DeMeco Ryans. It's probably just a little too crowded of the race at the top. The Browns have had a really special season, so I think it cost him it. I think it did.
It did. I think the voters want to give it to Stefanski. Most of his salary cap is not playing. That includes his quarterback. That includes just everybody. So he's probably going to get it. Now, here's why I would give it to Dan Campbell, because he did it with the Lions.
Yes.
He did it with this sad sack organization that we've forgotten about for decades, except here in Detroit. How can you turn the frickin' Lions around? That, to me, is the deal breaker right now. I would give it to him because they've been so pathetic for years and years and years. I didn't think there was anyone on the face of the earth who could turn the Lions around.
And he did it in less than 3 years.
Right. And Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes should... Are we talking about him as Executive of the Year?
He should.
Yeah, I wonder if there could be an Executive of the Year or a Owner of the Year. Do they do those? Okay. But I think they should do Owner of the Year.
They don't. Plus, we don't have owners anymore. They're governors. Right.
Yeah, Sheila would win it.
Governor of the Year?
I think she would.
Yeah. Brad would win.
Front office member of the year. Is she considered a front office member? Kind of, yeah, right? Owner's front office.
She can be considered whatever she wants. Just give her an award.
Exactly.
She deserves it. Brad Holmes deserves it. Rod Wood. They all deserve the things they've done to turn around this organization. Has been incredible.
Front office team. There we go.
Yeah.
They would win.
And they're just getting started. This is the exciting part for Lions fans. Like, we've had a great season, but they're just getting started. Like, this is the foundation being built, and the foundation is what's getting you to the playoffs. We haven't even seen Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell, Eden Hutchinson hit their second contract. In fact, most of them have 2 or 3 years left until they hit that. So it's just getting started. The decisions are just getting started. It's going to be a big offseason for Brad Holmes, and I couldn't be more excited.
We have just laid the foundation on this show, which means we are going to get into our pessimistic, optimistic, and game score predictions to close it out. So stick with us, and we'll be right back on Woodward and Main Street.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry. I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. think we need to get you a pick.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 12th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating. Always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, January 12th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, here to kick off your last Lions regular season game day. So congratulations, you made it this far. You didn't have an ulcer through all of the ups and downs of the Lions season. I know it was close there, especially last week, but you made it. And we're going to make it into playoff football. So that is thrilling here in Detroit.
Yeah, shout out to all 471 of you in the chat.
Heck yeah.
That is awesome. Thanks for joining us this morning. If you could hit that like button, we'd appreciate it. It helps us out.
Yes, that would be great. And we're going to get into the pessimistic, optimistic, and game score predictions. So play along in the chat. We'd love to hear your opinions as well. Let's kick it off with the pessimistic, Matt. What makes you pessimistic for the Lions today? Potentially a loss.
Yeah, the Vikings have nothing to lose, and a lot to gain. They still have a sliver of an opportunity to sneak in. I don't think it's going to happen, but there are guys. This is one of those games like we saw the Lions at the end of last season. One of those games where players are playing to put good film out there for next season. They're trying to earn jobs in 2024. So there are a lot of young players, especially with the injuries to Minnesota too, that are looking to earn some dollar bills for that 2024 season. So there's a lot of motivated people out there on the offense and defensive end for Minnesota, and who knows, that could spark a team more than you think.
Yep. Terry, where are you going with the pessimistic?
That Moon Mullins, their quarterback, doesn't get turned over. If he doesn't turn the ball over, then you could have some problems, because we know he's going to pass for some yards. I think the Lions figured out how to lure him into mistakes. Now, if he can counter that and really understand what the Lions did to him and don't get himself in those situations, then the Lions could be in some trouble.
I'm going to go with the fact that I started the show with, was that the Lions have not beat an NFC North team twice this season. It seems that all the NFC North teams in their second matchup with the Lions seem to figure out a way to adjust to their game, and the Lions have not seemed to counteract with that same energy. So hoping that that doesn't happen again today, and that they can really pull out a win here and sweep the Vikings.
I love it.
Okay, bam.
All right, moving on to optimistic. Nice, and look at us being so snappy today.
We rolling.
Optimistic. Terry, you want to kick off the optimistic?
I would love to.
Awesome.
The Lions have that mindset. Hey, we're big boys. And what a big boy does is you take inferior competition, particularly when you need this game because you're still playing for something, and just kick their ass. And you just walk out. We're big boys, and they play the way they're supposed to play. They play the way that we've seen them play before. And don't get too cute. You run the football. You give the ball to Saint and Laporta and not James Mitchell. Just take care of business.
Yes.
Do what you do and be a big boy.
Be a big boy. What is your optimistic for today's game, Matt?
I like that, Terry. And like Bryce Bennett said in the chat, play bully ball. Go out there and dominate. This is a chance to make a statement to the NFC North for next season, too. So might as well go out and get them. I also think not only if you pile on how the game ended in Dallas and just that extra fuel for this game for the Lions, but a lot of their key players, a lot of the key players to what they want to do on offense are close to some records. Like they're close to some major season milestones, whether that's the two running backs trying to get 1,000 yards apiece. David Montgomery is about 25 yards until he hits that milestone, and Jahmyr Gibbs, I think it's 80 rushing yards till he gets there. Sam Laporta needs a catch to hit a certain milestone. And Josh Reynolds needs to have more than 39 yards and a touchdown. He gets a $500,000 bonus. So there are a lot of guys playing for some serious bonuses, some serious incentives. Not that that's what they're only thinking about. This team is They play for each other, but that's also this offensive line. They want to be able to say that they had 2 running backs running behind them in that 2023 season that led to the NFC North. Those are prideful things to have on your resume as you get older and tell your kids. That offensive line. They have a baby about every other week, so there's going to be a lot of grandchildren one day that are going to hear these stories. The Legion of Loom.
And money does talk. They always say, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Baloney, it is. And when you have these incentives and you get a big bonus, players think about this.
Yeah. It's partly why Amon-Ra St. Brown would be so pissed about his Pro Bowl snub. The Pro Bowl isn't what it is. Like part of it's a popularity contest, but for someone with a 4th-round contract, I don't know what the Pro Bowl bonus is for him, but I'm sure it's a significant percentage, compared relative to his contract. So him not getting that's more of a snub for him than a guy like Jared Goff. Not to talk about Goff's money, but if that man needed any more motivation, good Lord. He got it.
He might have 75 catches today.
he might.
I love that.
I'm curious to see, does he make All-Pro? To me, that's more important.
Definitely. And I think he's got an outside shot. I would put him in there as a 1st or 2nd team All-Pro.
Okay. TBD.
But the voting is crazy. Lamar Jackson will probably win MVP, but he may not make All-Pro. Or 1st team All-Pro. This is crazy stuff.
Joe Flacco has better odds to win the MVP than Jared Goff. What? What world do we live in? People? I'm not going to go down that route. We're not going to go down that path.
But we live in a world where I'm pretty optimistic about the Lions' performance today because they've
Nice
been
transition.
Yeah, we didn't hear from you.
steamrolled.
She tried to sneak out of this conversation.
No, I like the
Shame on
positive.
you.
I like the optimistic. I'm here for it.
I know this is your thing. You
Yeah.
love it, and then you try to sneak out and not do it.
Oh, well, here I am. I'm showing up
All right.
finally, okay? And it's because I think the Lions have been completely steamrolled over the last week with the Pro Bowl, with Dallas, with what happened in Dallas, with all the social media things that have happened since. I think the Lions are more together than ever, and we see them perform best under sticky situations where they need to really pull out the grit and show up on the field, and I think we're going to see that today, and then it's going to continue into the playoffs. So I think, honestly, good for what happened in Dallas. Use that as fuel for the fire, that pure octane. Like Dan Campbell said, this is your opportunity to start off a big Lions run here.
Well, I got another pessimistic.
Oh,
The Lions crack open that Lions beer at halftime, and boom, fall
there
apart.
you go. There you go.
I hope they instructed the staff to bring out the season celebration beers after they leave the locker room.
Please don't do
halftime.
that at halftime because, they haven't had the best luck
Yeah.
in the third quarter, so we
Yeah.
don't need to.
Now we're back here Tuesday, right?
Yeah, we're back here Tuesday, 7 a.m.
I am going to have a Lions beer and give you a
Okay.
report on Tuesday.
Okay,
So
let us
mark
know.
that down on your little.
All right,
Gabby
I'll
does.
put
She
it
does
in
a
the
wonderful
rundown.
job. She does her little. You're like a little squirrel. She salts away little ideas and everything. Put that down. Lions beer segment. I'm gonna give you an honest
Tuesday.
opinion on it.
Lions.
Terry, in your time covering teams, what was the craziest, if you can think of it off the top of your head, craziest thing you've seen a player do or drink or eat at the locker room during or in the half? What's the craziest thing you've seen? And what spurred that question is Marshawn Lynch. He would always have like 2 shots of Hennessy at halftime. That was his go-to.
That sounds like him.
Yeah.
It's not real sexy, but Gates Brown had one of the I don't know if it's the ball boy, the bat boy, somebody get him a hot dog at a Tigers game, and Gates Brown was a pinch hitter, so he gets a hot dog and he starts eating the hot dog on the bench, and he didn't think he was gonna go into the game, and then Mel Smith, the manager, said, "Hey, Gator, you got to go in. We need you." So he put his hot dog in his pocket.
Way.
Wow.
So he goes, pinch hits, gets a double, slides in the second, and he's got mustard and hot dog gristle all over himself.
There you have
So
it.
that's probably the weirdest.
That is a perfect answer. That's what I wanted
This
to
is
hear.
what I have to say. How can you see it?
There
it's
you
written
go.
down. It's right here. It's in the books. We are ready for Tuesday. Gabby notes. Where does it say? Gabby's notes right here. Tuesday. Lions beer segment. That will be happening.
We're going to be here all night Monday night. for the Michigan national championship
You will
game.
be. I do not
Yeah, I'm
care.
I'm watching it from the man's room.
All right.
But what I do care about is our Lions game score prediction. So, without further ado, let's get those up on the board, please. There it is. All right,
Let's go.
Let's do this thing. We have Lions right across the board. And as Matt said, he has now picked the Lions 18 for 18.
Did I?
All season, you have picked the Lions to win.
Oh, I thought they could win every game.
Sounds like a homer to me.
Well,
Call me what you want.
I mean, we look pretty much like homers up here because I'm going Lions win 24-20. Matt, what is your game score prediction for today?
28-27. The Minnesota Vikings play. Every game is close. Every game's one possession. I don't know what the Lions' strategy is going to be to taking starters out, playing backups, but I do think Teddy Bridgewater will be in there in the fourth quarter.
Would love
I think
to see
he throws,
that for him.
Yeah, I think he throws a touchdown pass.
Love that.
Bro,
Whether
if
that's
it's
to win it-
28-27, Teddy Bridgewater is not going to see the field.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay,
Terry,
Lions,
where are you going?
I think the Lions are pissed off. They're going to put on their big boy pants, and they're going to crush Minnesota today. I don't care if the last game was close and it came down to one possession. They're going to show out today
Love
and
it.
show you the good Lions today, and they're going to smack. And that place is going to be loud.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Mullins is going to throw a couple interceptions. That's going to be it right there. And
That's
your boy
it.
Teddy Bridgewater will not see the field.
No, not against his team that drafted him.
No.
I mean, what a story
Stop it.
ending that would be, though. I would like to see it. Just for the narrative, it would be nice. But what is also nice is that we're going to be back here on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. with a great report on the Lions beer. So be on the lookout for that. But we will be back here to hopefully recap a Lions win, the last Lions win of the regular season, potentially. We will see, because it's so much better to talk about a Lions win than the Lions loss. Have a great final regular season game day, Detroit. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. We are Woodward and Main Street. See you Tuesday morning.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.